May 4th, 2023, 2:34 a.m., Kyiv, Ukraine. A Kh-47M2 Kinzhal ballistic missile launches from a MiG-31K fighter over Russian airspace. Designated target, Patriot air defense battery protecting Ukrainian capital. Flight time to impact approximately 6 minutes. Speed, Mach 10. Altitude, 40 kilometers. Kinetic energy, equivalent to small car traveling at hypersonic velocity. Russian military calls this weapon unstoppable. Hypersonic technology that defeats all Western air defense. $10 million per missile. Propaganda centerpiece. Strategic intimidation tool. 6 seconds before impact, American Patriot PAC-3 interceptor missile achieves direct hit. 40 kilometers altitude. Closing velocity, Mach 15 combined. The Kinzhal disintegrates. Debris falls harmlessly over empty territory. This is IronBullet. And what just happened wasn't a miracle. It was mathematics, physics, and engineering defeating marketing, propaganda, and wishful thinking. The question isn't whether the Patriot can intercept hypersonic missiles. It just did. The question is how 1980s technology designed for hypersonics existed managed to defeat 2020's weapons specifically marketed as uninterceptable. And the answer to that question is going to destroy every assumption you have about wonder weapons, technological superiority, and what hypersonic actually means. The official Russian response, denial. The intercept didn't happen. Western propaganda. Technical impossibility. Patriot systems can't engage hypersonic targets. Except the wreckage exists. The telemetry exists. The radar data exists. And most importantly, the Patriot battery survived. The target it was protecting survived. The mission failed. Russian military knows it failed. They just can't admit why. Because admitting why would mean acknowledging that their strategic weapon program is built on flawed assumptions about what makes missiles difficult to intercept. Stay with me, because the detail that explains this intercept, the physics principle that makes hypersonic less impressive than it sounds, is going to change how you think about modern air defense and modern missile development, and the billions of dollars governments spend chasing speed when speed isn't the actual problem. Let's establish what Kinzhal actually is, not the propaganda. The engineering, K-47ME2 Kinzhal, Russian designation, Dagger in English, development 2010s, deployment 2018, operational status, limited production, estimated 50 to 100 missiles. Design basis, modified Iskander-M short-range ballistic missile. Air launch from MiG-31K interceptor aircraft at high altitude. Launch speed Mach 2+. Launch altitude 15 to 20 kilometers. This gives the missile kinetic energy advantage versus ground launch. Warhead conventional or nuclear capable. Weight approximately 500 kilograms. Claimed penetration capability against hardened targets. Flight profile, ballistic with limited maneuverability. Not a cruise missile. Not continuous powered flight. Boost phase, ballistic arc, terminal phase. The hypersonic designation comes from peak velocity during ballistic portion. Maximum velocity, Mach 10 to 12 claimed. Actual verified Mach 10 approximately. This speed is achieved at high altitude where air resistance is minimal. At lower altitudes, atmospheric friction reduces velocity significantly. Range, 2,000 kilometers claimed from air launch. More realistic estimate, 1,500 kilometers against defended targets accounting for evasive maneuvering. The critical detail. Kinzhal is not a hypersonic cruise missile. It's an air-launched ballistic missile that reaches hypersonic velocity during portions of flight. This distinction matters. We'll return to it. Now the Patriot system. What it actually does. MEM 104 Patriot. American design. Raytheon production. Development 1970s. Initial deployment 1981. Multiple upgrade variants. The system protecting Kyiv. PAC-3 variant. Patriot Advanced Capability 3. PAC-3 specific features. Hit-to-kill technology. No explosive warhead. The interceptor destroys targets through direct kinetic impact. Requires precise guidance. More difficult than proximity fuse warheads, but more effective against ballistic missiles. Engagement envelope. Altitude 140 kilometers. Range 20 to 100 kilometers, depending on target trajectory. Maximum engagement velocity classified. Publicly estimated at Mach 5+ interceptor speed against targets traveling up to Mach 8 to 10. Radar AN MPQ 65. Phased array. Tracks multiple targets simultaneously. Engagement capacity 8 to 16 targets depending on threat axis and available interceptors. Track range 150 plus kilometers for ballistic missile-sized targets. Guidance track via missile. Ground radar provides initial intercept trajectory. Missiles onboard radar takes over for terminal guidance. Allows engagement of maneuvering targets. Enables course corrections during flight. The technology is from 1980s conceptually, but continuous upgrades mean modern PAC-3 uses 2020s processors, algorithms, and materials. It's not your grandfather's Patriot. It's his Patriot with 40 years of refinement. May 4th, the engagement. What actually happened? 2:34 a.m., Russian MiG-31K launches Kinzhal from approximately 250 kilometers inside Russian airspace. Launch detected by Ukrainian early warning network. Not by Patriot initially, by strategic radar systems monitoring Russian airspace. The early warning is critical. Patriot needs time. Not much, but some. Ballistic missiles move fast. Reaction time matters. 2:34 to 30 a.m. Ukrainian command center receives launch notification. Evaluates threat vector. Target, likely Kyiv. Probable target within Kyiv. Military or government facility. Possibly the Patriot battery itself. Targeting Patriot batteries with ballistic missiles is standard doctrine. Destroy the air defense. Then attack with conventional aircraft and cruise missiles. The Kinzhal is the door opener. 2:35 a.m. Patriot battery receives target data. Radar acquires track. The Kinzhal is in boost phase. Accelerating, still relatively low altitude. 25 kilometers. Rising. Patriot system begins threat evaluation. Calculates intercept geometry. The Kinzhal is accelerating toward Mach 10, but is not there yet. Currently Mach 6 approximately. Still accelerating. Here's what most analysis misses. The Kinzhal's maximum velocity occurs at high altitude during ballistic phase, not during boost, not during terminal approach. At the apex of its trajectory, where air is thin, where resistance is minimal. That's also where it's most predictable. Ballistic trajectory follows physics, gravity, momentum, minimal maneuverability at that altitude and speed. Any significant course change bleeds velocity rapidly. 2:35:30 a.m. Kinzhal reaches ballistic phase. Altitude 38 kilometers. Velocity Mach 10. Trajectory predictable arc toward Kyiv. Time to impact approximately 90 seconds. Patriot system calculates intercept point, not where the missile is, where it will be. Ballistic trajectory is mathematically predictable. You can calculate future position precisely if you know current position, velocity, and acceleration. The Patriot's computer does this calculation in milliseconds. Determines optimal intercept geometry. Selects interceptor missile. Prepares launch. Patriot launches PAC-3 interceptor. The missile accelerates, not to Mach 10, to Mach 5. Doesn't need to match target speed, needs to intercept target path. This is the physics principle most people misunderstand. You don't chase hypersonic missiles. You intercept them. Position yourself in their path. Let their velocity carry them into you. Closing velocity is what matters. Kinzhal at Mach 10, Patriot at Mach 5. Head-on intercept geometry. Combined closing velocity, Mach 15. That's 18,000 kilometers per hour. 5 kilometers per second. At that closing velocity, reaction time is measured in fractions of seconds. Course corrections must be calculated and executed in milliseconds. There's no margin for error. 2:36 GHz AM. Batch 3 interceptor climbs toward intercept point. Altitude 20 kilometers. Still accelerating. Still adjusting trajectory based on updated track data from ground radar. The Kinzhal continues ballistic arc. Altitude 40 kilometers. Beginning terminal phase. Starting to descend toward target. Velocity still Mach 10 at this altitude. But here's the critical detail. The Kinzhal can't maneuver significantly at this speed and altitude. Hypersonic flight at 40 kilometers altitude means thin air. Control surfaces have minimal effect. Thrust vectoring, if present, has limited authority. The missile is effectively ballistic. This is the vulnerability. Maximum speed equals minimum maneuverability. Physics demands the faster you go, the less you can turn, especially at high altitude. 2:36:20 AM. Packet 3 interceptor reaches 35 kilometers altitude. Kinzhal descending through 42 kilometers. Intercept geometry converging. Both missiles tracking towards the same point in space. 10 seconds from intercept. Patriot ground radar provides continuous track updates. The interceptor's onboard radar activates, acquires target, locks. The terminal guidance phase begins. Now the interceptor is autonomous. Ground radar still providing backup track, but the missile itself is guiding the target, making micro corrections, adjusting trajectory thousands of times per second. 2:36:28 AM. Range 3 kilometers. Closing velocity Mach 15. Time to impact 0.6 seconds. The Kinzhal's onboard sensors, if it has them, might detect the interceptor. But detection doesn't help. No time to maneuver. No ability to evade at this speed and altitude. Physics doesn't allow it. 2:36:29 AM. Range 500 meters. Closure Mach 15. Time 0.1 seconds. The Packet 3's hit-to-kill vehicle makes final corrections. Small lateral thrusters. Adjusting trajectory by centimeters. Aiming for direct impact. 2:36:29.6 AM. Impact. Kinetic energy. Massive. The Packet 3 interceptor masses approximately 300 kilograms traveling at Mach 5. The Kinzhal masses approximately 4,000 kilograms traveling at Mach 10. Combined kinetic energy at impact, equivalent to several tons of TNT. No explosive warhead needed. The kinetic impact disintegrates both missiles. Metal vaporizes. Components shred. What remains falls as debris across several kilometers. The Kinzhal's warhead, if armed, doesn't detonate. Safeties prevent detonation from kinetic shock alone. The missile is destroyed before reaching target. Time from Patriot launch to intercept, 44 seconds. Time from intercept to debris impact on ground, approximately 30 seconds. Total engagement time, 74 seconds. Under 2 minutes from launch detection to threat elimination. Russian command observes telemetry loss. The Kinzhal stops transmitting. Assumed impact. They wait for damage assessment, for confirmation of target destruction. It doesn't come. The Patriot battery is intact, still radiating, still operational, still threatening Russian aircraft. The Kinzhal failed, not through malfunction, through interception. The unstoppable missile was stopped. Russian military response, immediate denial. Technical impossibility, Western propaganda. The intercept couldn't have happened because their doctrine says it can happen. Except physics doesn't care about doctrine. And mathematics doesn't respect propaganda. The intercept happened. The evidence is conclusive. So why did Russian military believe Kinzhal was uninterceptable? What assumption failed? The answer is in what hypersonic actually means versus what it's marketed as. Marketing definition. Hypersonic means impossible to intercept. Speed defeats all defenses. Wonder weapon. Game changer. Engineering definition. Hypersonic means velocity exceeding Mach 5. Nothing more. Doesn't mean uninterceptable. Just means fast. ICBMs have been hypersonic since 1950s. They travel at Mach 20 plus. They've been interceptable with difficulty since the 1970s. Hypersonic doesn't equal uninterceptable. Never has. What makes missiles difficult to intercept isn't speed alone. It's a combination of speed, maneuverability, and flight profile. Kinzhal has speed, limited maneuverability, predictable ballistic profile. 2 out of 3 factors favor the interceptor. Russian assumption, speed alone defeats defenses. They optimized for maximum velocity, sacrificed maneuverability, chose ballistic trajectory for range, created weapon that's fast but predictable. American counter, design interceptor for ballistic targets. Accept that you won't match target speed. Focus on intercept geometry. Use superior guidance and computing to position interceptor in target path. Result, 40-year-old concept defeats brand new weapon, not through superior speed, through superior understanding of engagement geometry. This is what Russian military can't admit. Their wonder weapon failed because they optimized for wrong parameter. Speed impresses civilians. Maneuverability defeats interceptors. They chose impressive over effective. Now the costs. Because victory is never free. The PAC-3 interceptor costs approximately $4 million. The Kinzhal costs approximately $10 million. Cost-exchange ratio favorable for Ukraine, but problematic at scale. Ukraine has limited Patriot missiles, maybe 200 total across all batteries. Russia has larger though still limited stock of Kinzhal missiles, plus thousands of other ballistic and cruise missiles. If Russia launches 10 Kinzhals, Ukraine must expend 10 PAC-3 interceptors, maybe more if some miss. The economics favor the attacker who has larger missile inventory. But there's psychological cost to Russia too. Every failed Kinzhal attack undermines strategic intimidation value. If the weapon doesn't work as advertised, the threat becomes hollow. Political leadership loses confidence in military capabilities. The May 4th intercept forced Russian military to reconsider Kinzhal employment. They can't casually use these missiles anymore. Each launch risks interception, risks confirming that Western air defense works, risks further damaging credibility. Strategic weapons are only strategic if the enemy believes they work. Once intercepted consistently, they become expensive targets. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. How did 1980s technology beat 2020's wonder weapon? Because the 1980s technology was designed correctly for its mission, intercepting ballistic missiles, and continuously upgraded for 40 years. The 2020s weapon was designed for marketing impact. Hypersonic sounds impressive, not for tactical effectiveness. Speed doesn't overcome predictable trajectory. Physics advantage beats velocity advantage. What makes hypersonic missiles actually difficult to intercept, not speed alone. Combination of speed plus maneuverability plus unpredictable flight profile. Kinzhal has speed, lacks maneuverability at high altitude, follows ballistic trajectory. 2 of 3 factors favor interceptor. Truly difficult hypersonic weapons, like some cruise missile designs, sacrifice maximum speed for low altitude maneuvering. Different threat, much harder to counter. Was this intercept a miracle or mathematics? Mathematics. Pure engineering. The Patriot system performed exactly as designed. Detected ballistic target. Calculated intercept geometry. Positioned interceptor in target path. Achieved kinetic kill. No luck required. Just physics, computing, and guidance systems working as intended. The miracle is perception, not reality. Works every time physics is correctly applied. The lesson from May 4th isn't that hypersonic weapons don't work. It's that hypersonic is marketing term, not technical advantage. Speed matters, but trajectory, maneuverability, and flight profile matter more. Kinzhal is fast ballistic missile. Ballistic missiles have been interceptable for decades. Making them faster doesn't make them less interceptable if they remain ballistic. Just makes them more expensive failures. This is why American hypersonic development focuses on maneuvering cruise missiles at lower altitudes. Harder to detect, harder to track, harder to intercept because they can maneuver throughout flight profile. Speed is secondary priority. Survivability is primary. Russian approach prioritized speed because speed is impressive, creates intimidation, generates headlines, but effectiveness requires survivability, and survivability requires more than velocity. This is IronBullet. We analyze the battles that change wars, and the May 4th intercept changed how militaries think about hypersonic weapons, not because it proved they don't work, because it proved that hypersonic alone doesn't guarantee success. Physics matters more than propaganda. Engineering matters more than marketing. The skies over Kyiv have seen dozens of air defense engagements since May 4th. Some successful, some not. Air defense is never perfect, but the Patriot battery that intercepted Kinzhal remains operational, still protecting, still engaging threats. The psychological impact exceeds tactical significance. Russian military must now assume Kinzhal can be intercepted, must plan accordingly, must accept that their strategic intimidation weapon is vulnerable. That's operational victory beyond single intercept. Subscribe to IronBullet, because in modern warfare, wonder weapons only work until they don't. And physics doesn't care about propaganda. 1 missile, 1 interceptor, 6 seconds. The unstoppable weapon stopped. Not through miracle, through mathematics. The oldest lesson in warfare. Effective beats impressive. Every time. If you think hypersonic weapons will change warfare, type IronBullet in the comments. If you think physics always wins eventually, tell me which wonder weapon fails next. Because history is littered with unstoppable weapons that got stopped. May 4th added one more to that list. The Kinzhal, Russia's hypersonic pride, defeated by American engineering from the 1980s. Because speed without survivability is just expensive failure. Real battles, real tactics, real consequences. Stay vigilant.